Jin-Soo stood in the dark tunnel of Karo 7 mining colony, his hands covered in dust and sweat. Around him, the ice walls sparkled under the light of his lamp. For 300 years, humans had worked in places like this. They dug, they carried, they built things for the Galactic Council. The Council owned everything. The Council decided everything. Humans were just workers. That was how things had always been. He was different from other miners. Jin-Soo read books that were forbidden. He talked to people about things the Council did not want discussed. This made him dangerous. This made him a leader, even if he did not want to be one. Today, something changed. His pickaxe struck something hard beneath the ice. Not rock, something else, something smooth and metallic. Jin-Soo's heart beat faster. He called his friend Tae-ho over. Tae-ho was a former pilot who now worked the mines like everyone else. The Galactic Council had taken away his flying license because he asked too many questions. "What is it?" Tae-ho whispered. Jin-Soo cleared away the ice carefully. A metal panel appeared. Strange symbols covered it. These symbols were not from any current technology. They were old. Very old. Older than the 300 years of human slavery. "This should not be here," Jin-Soo said. They worked through the night, hiding from the security cameras by using the mining equipment as shields. By dawn, they had uncovered a small door. The door had a control panel. The panel had a message written on it. It was in human language, perfect human language, not the broken version the Council had taught them. The message said, "To the free humans of tomorrow. If you are reading this, you have survived. The Sentinel waits." Jin-Soo felt something awaken inside him. The Sentinel. He had heard stories about the Sentinel, old stories. Stories about the time before slavery. Stories about power. Stories about hope. The Council had said the Sentinel was just a myth, a child's dream. "We need to tell the others," Tae-ho said. "Not yet," Jin-Soo replied. "If the Council finds out, they will destroy this place. And they will destroy us." That night, Jin-Soo met with his small group. Mira came first. She was an engineer, brilliant with machines and systems. The Council kept her working on repairs because she was useful, but useful people were always watched. Hae-won came next. She was young, only 22 years old. She had learned to hack into the Council's computer systems by breaking into their networks and stealing information. The Council did not know this yet. They sat in the dark basement of an old building. The building was forgotten by the authorities. Many forgotten places existed in human colonies, places where people could speak freely. "I found something," Jin-Soo told them. He showed them images he had taken of the metal door. "I think it might be a way to learn the truth, the real truth about who we are." Mira studied the images carefully. "These symbols are different from anything I have seen, but the craftsmanship, it is incredible. Whoever built this understood material science better than anyone alive today." "The Council has been keeping things from us," Hae-won said. It was not a question. She already knew this truth. "More than things," Jin-Soo said. "Themselves, our history, everything." They made a decision that night. They would go to the door. They would open it. They would learn what was inside. They would learn who they really were. But they needed to be careful. The Galactic Council had eyes everywhere. In the sky, massive ships orbited the planet. On the ground, security robots walked the streets. Any human who asked the wrong questions disappeared. Any human who challenged the Council's authority was punished. Meanwhile, far above the planet, in the command station that floated in space, the Galactic Council held a meeting. The Council was made of many species. The Verith had been part of it for 10,000 years. The Kethel brought weapons and power. The Solarian Collective contributed trade and culture. Humans brought nothing except work. Overseer Vex represented the Council on Earth. He was Verath, with a body that seemed made of crystal and shadow. His voice sounded like ice breaking. He looked at the reports from the mining colonies. "Productivity is down," he said. "Humans are working slower. Some are becoming sick. Some are asking questions." The other council representatives did not care much. Humans were everywhere in the galaxy. There were billions of them. If one colony became useless, they could simply be replaced or removed. "Do we need to do anything?" asked a Kethel officer. "Perhaps we should terminate this population," suggested a Solarian. "Their genetic material could be useful. They take up resources. They require feeding and care." Overseer Vex considered this. Humans had always seemed weak to him. Weak and simple. 300 years of slavery had made them weaker. He could not imagine humans ever becoming a real problem. "Let us observe," he said. "If they become troublesome, we can remove them easily. For now, let them work." He did not know that beneath the ice of Caro 7, humans were discovering the truth. He did not know that the past was waking up. He did not know that everything the Galactic Council believed about humanity was about to prove wrong. Jinsu and his friends prepared for their journey. They gathered supplies. They studied maps. They planned routes through places where security cameras did not reach. It took them 3 weeks. When they finally left the mining colony, they did not know if they would ever return. They did not know that what they would find would change everything. They did not know that an ancient guardian was about to wake up. They did not know that the galaxy was about to remember what humans could do. All they knew was that they had to find the Sentinel. They had to learn the truth. They had to remember who they really were, and somehow deep in his heart, Jinsu believed this might save not just humans, but everyone. The journey north toward Arctis Prime began under the cover of darkness. Behind them, the mining colony continued its work, unaware that everything was about to change. The frozen world of Arctis Prime looked nothing like home. Snow covered everything. Wind cut through the air like sharp blades. The temperature was so cold that breath turned to ice before it fell. Jinsu, Mira, Teho, and Haiwan had traveled for many days to reach this place. Their transport ship was hidden in a valley, camouflaged to look like a natural rock formation. The coordinates from the metal door had led them here, to this frozen planet at the edge of human-controlled space, a place that appeared empty, a place that the Galactic Council said was worthless. Haiwan checked her equipment. She carried devices for hacking and breaking codes. Her fingers were small and quick. She had grown up learning to steal information from the Council's systems. Now she would use those skills to unlock the secrets of the past. "The entrance should be somewhere beneath us," she said, looking at her scanner. "There is something metal down there, something very large." They dug through the snow. They found the ice. They used tools to cut through it. Hours passed. The wind grew stronger. They were so focused on their work that they almost missed the danger. A sound broke through the noise of the wind, a mechanical sound, like something activating. "Move!" Teho shouted. A beam of energy cut through the ice where they had been standing moments before. It burned so hot that it turned ice into steam instantly. "Defense systems," Mira said quickly. "The facility is protecting itself." Haiwan pulled out her hacking device. "I can disable them. Maybe. I have never seen technology like this." She worked fast, her fingers moving across the device. The beams stopped cutting, but the ice beneath them started to crack and break. A huge section opened up. A hole appeared in the ground, a darkness below. "It wants us to go down," Teho said. "Or it is trying to kill us," Mira replied. But there was no time to decide. More alarm sounds were coming. The entire facility was waking up. They had to move or die. They climbed down into the darkness. The hole was not natural. It was an entrance. Smooth walls led downward at an angle. Emergency lighting suddenly turned on, casting a green glow. The walls were made of the same strange metal as the door they had found in the mines. They descended deeper and deeper. The temperature got warmer. The air became easier to breathe. Soon they could see better. The walls had writing on them, instructions, warnings, beautiful words in human language. "Welcome home," one section said. Finally, the tunnel opened into a massive chamber. They stood in silence, unable to move, unable to speak. The chamber was the size of a city. The walls stretched so high that they became invisible in the darkness above. Strange machines occupied every space. Lights blinked, systems hummed quietly. In the center of everything stood a massive structure shaped like a human hand, but made of pure energy. "This is impossible," Mira whispered. "This is real," Heywan said. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber. A woman's face. She looked kind but strong. She looked like she carried the weight of the world. "Welcome," the hologram said. "My name is Dr. Yejin. I have been waiting for you for 300 years. I knew you would come. My people built me to know that humans never give up, never stop searching, never accept chains." Jin-Su stepped forward. "Are you real? Are you alive?" "I am a recorded consciousness," Dr. Yejin explained. "My mind was captured before I died. I have spent 3 centuries maintaining this facility, waiting, protecting what is inside, the Sentinel." "What is the Sentinel?" Jin-Su asked. Dr. Yejin's face became sad. "The Sentinel is humanity's greatest creation and humanity's last hope. Come, let me show you." She led them through the facility. Everything was advanced beyond their understanding. They saw areas filled with information, millions of books converted into electronic form, thousands of recordings, human history from before the slavery. They learned that humans had once been powerful, not enslaved, not controlled. They had built cities on hundreds of worlds. They had invented technologies that made the Galactic Council's equipment seem like simple tools. They had created art and music and philosophy that was beautiful and complex. Then, 100 years before Jin-Su was born, the Galactic Council had come to Earth. They had attacked with overwhelming force. They had won quickly. They had told humanity that resistance was impossible, but before that final defeat, humanity's greatest scientists and soldiers had built something. They built the Sentinel, a machine that was more than a machine, an intelligence that was more than intelligence, a protector that had been programmed to guard humanity forever. "The Sentinel sleeps," Dr. Yejin said, "but it does not sleep peacefully. It dreams of humanity's pain. It waits for someone strong enough to wake it up." They entered a chamber where the Sentinel rested. It looked like a fusion of machine and something alive. Crystals covered its surface. Lights pulsed through it like a heartbeat. It was the most beautiful and terrible thing Jin-Su had ever seen. "Can it save us?" Taeho asked. "It can do more than save you," Dr. Yejin replied. "It can remember what you are. It can remind the galaxy what humans are capable of. But there is a price. The person who awakens the Sentinel must merge with it. Part of their consciousness will become part of the machine. Part of the machine will become part of them. Not everyone survives this joining." The 4 friends looked at each other. They understood what this meant. Someone had to make a choice. Someone had to risk everything. Mira reached out and took Jin-Su's hand. "You have to do this," she said. "You have always been the strongest. You have always believed we could be more than this." "What if I die?" Jin-Su asked. "Then at least you die trying to be free," Mira said. Heywan and Taeho nodded. They believed this too. Jin-Su walked toward the Sentinel. The machine seemed to recognize him. It began to glow brighter. Its heartbeat became faster. "If you are ready," Dr. Yejin said, "we can begin the awakening sequence tomorrow. Get some rest. You will need your strength." That night, Jin-Su could not sleep. He stood on a platform looking out at the facility. This place was a gift from the past, a message from humans who had died 300 years ago, a promise that someday their children would be free again. Tomorrow, he would join with the Sentinel. Tomorrow, he would become something more than human. Tomorrow, the galaxy would begin to fear humanity again. Morning came slowly on Arctis Prime. The sun hung in the sky like a pale ghost. Jin-Soo had not slept. He had spent the entire night thinking about what he was about to do. He thought about his life, about the mines, about the Council's control, about his friends waiting for him. At dawn, he walked to the activation chamber. Dr. Ye Jin was waiting. The hologram looked different today, more real somehow, more like she understood the weight of this moment. "Are you ready?" she asked. Jin-Soo nodded. "Then let us begin." Mira, Tai-Ho, and Hae-Won watched from an observation room made of transparent material. They could see everything. Mira's hands pressed against the glass. Her face showed fear and hope mixed together. The activation chamber was a pool filled with clear liquid. The liquid glowed with soft blue light. It was warm. It smelled like life itself. "You must enter the liquid," Dr. Ye-Jin instructed. "Your body will dissolve into the quantum field. Your consciousness will expand. The Sentinel will recognize you. It will accept you or reject you. If it accepts you, you will merge. Your mind and the Sentinel's mind will become connected." Jin-Soo removed his clothes. He stepped into the pool. The liquid felt like being born again. It felt like coming home to a place he had never been. He sank deeper. The light grew brighter. Suddenly, everything changed. Jin-Soo was everywhere and nowhere. He was falling through time. He was rising above worlds. He could see Earth below him. He could see the mining colonies. He could see the ships of the Galactic Concil floating in space. He could see the whole galaxy spreading out like a flower. And then he saw memories. Memories that were not his own. He saw humans building great cities. He saw humans creating art so beautiful it made him weep. He saw humans falling in love. He saw children born. He saw families torn apart by the Council's cruelty. He saw humanity at its greatest. He saw humanity at its worst. And through it all, he felt something ancient stirring, something that had been waiting, something that had been sleeping for 300 years. The Sentinel woke up. When it woke, the entire planet shook. The facility trembled. In the observation room, Mira grabbed onto the rail to keep from falling. Tai-Ho and Hae-Won looked at each other with fear in their eyes. In the activation chamber, Jin-Soo's body changed. Light came from inside him. His skin became like crystal. His eyes turned to pure energy. He was becoming something new, something human, and something more. The Sentinel's voice came through him. It was a voice like mountains being born, like stars exploding, like the universe itself speaking. "I have slept long," the voice said. "I have dreamed of humanity's pain. No more. I am awake. I am angry. I am ready." High above them, in the space around Arctis Prime, the Sentinel's systems activated. Weapons that had been hidden for 300 years powered up. Defense networks that spanned the entire solar system came alive. Computers so advanced, they made current technology look like cave paintings began processing billions of calculations. The sensors of the Galactic Concil detected it immediately. In the command station above Earth, Overseer Vex received an alert. An energy signature of impossible size was coming from Arctis Prime. A signal that should not exist. A power that could not be real. He immediately called an emergency session of the Galactic Concil. "What is happening?" demanded the Kethel commander. "I do not know," Overseer Vex admitted. "Something has awakened, something ancient. The energy readings are beyond our measurement." "Is it a weapon?" asked a Solarian representative. "It is worse than a weapon," Vex said slowly. "It is a guardian, and it is human." Back in the facility, Jinsu stood. His friends rushed down to see him. He looked different. His eyes contained galaxies. His voice had an echo that came from infinity. "I can see everything," he said. "I can feel the whole galaxy. I understand now. The Council has been lying to us about everything. They were afraid of us. They enslaved us because they feared what we could become." Mira reached out to touch him. Her hand passed through his arm, and she felt a connection. For just a moment, she could see what he saw. She could feel what he felt. She understood the truth. "What do we do?" she asked. "We free everyone," Jinsu said. "Every human in every colony, every world. The Council thinks they can stop us. They cannot. I am connected to the Sentinel, and the Sentinel has been waiting 300 years for this moment." Above them, the Sentinel began to communicate with every computer system in human space. It reached out with its consciousness like a spider's web, touching every network, every satellite, every ship. The Galactic Council's military forces began to move. 100 capital ships started traveling toward Arctis Prime. The Council's leaders were confident. They had defeated humanity once. They could do it again. They did not understand what they were facing. The Sentinel did not fight like human fighters fight. It did not use lasers or missiles. Instead, it used something more powerful. It used information. It opened channels to every world. It showed the truth to every being in the galaxy. The Council's atrocities, the slavery, the lies, the suppression of human culture and history. For the first time in 300 years, the entire galaxy knew the truth about humanity. And the truth was beautiful and terrible. On the mining worlds, humans looked at screens and saw their own history. They saw what they could have been. They saw what they could still become. The Council's allies began to question their loyalty. The smaller species that had supported the Council's authority began to doubt. The 100 capital ships that had been sent to destroy Arctis Prime suddenly received new orders from their crews. Some turned back, some simply stopped moving, some, incredibly, turned to face the Council's homeworlds instead. The Sentinel had not just awakened, it had awakened something in humanity: hope, power, the memory of what they truly were. Jinsu felt the weight of it all, the responsibility, the power flowing through him, the connection to billions of humans across the galaxy, all at once remembering. "We are free," he said, and the words carried across space like thunder. And everywhere humans heard those words, they believed them. They believed that a new day was beginning, that the age of slavery was ending, that the ancient guardian of humanity had stirred, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council had ruled for 10,000 years. They had controlled billions of worlds. They had commanded armies that could destroy planets. They had never known defeat. They could not imagine that 300 years of technological advancement had not been used against them. When the battle alert came, they were confused and certain of victory. The first Council fleet was composed of 100 capital ships. Each ship was the size of a small moon. Each ship carried weapons that could burn stars. The admirals of the fleet were confident. They had faced human resistance before. They had crushed it easily. Overseer Vex watched from the command station as the fleet approached Arctis Prime. "How long until they reach the target?" he asked. 2 hours, a technician replied. "At that point, the human defenses will be overwhelmed." But something was wrong. Vex could feel it. The Sentinel's presence was like weight pressing down on him. Like being underwater and feeling the ocean above you. Endless and heavy. The first sign of trouble came when the Council's ships tried to communicate with each other. The communication networks were being attacked, not with weapons, with something worse, with truth. Every screen on every Council ship suddenly showed the same things: Evidence, documents, recordings, videos of human suffering, memories of brutal control and exploitation, records of great human achievements that the Council had stolen and claimed as their own. The crews of the Council ships began to see the truth. Younger officers who had not been trained in Council propaganda from birth felt doubt spread through them. "This is impossible," the fleet commander said. "Shut down all screens. Ignore the messages." But he could not shut them down. The Sentinel was in the networks. The Sentinel was everywhere. The Sentinel did something bold. It reached into the deepest parts of the Council's data storage. It found the original plans for humanity's slavery, the moment of conquest, the decisions to suppress human advancement. All of this information, thousands of years of secret Council history, was released to every being in the galaxy at once. On Vareth worlds, citizens looked at their screens and felt shame for the first time. On Kethel stations, soldiers asked their commanders why they had been fighting for oppressors. On Solarian colonies, families learned that the peace they had enjoyed had been built on the suffering of others. The fleet that had been so confident began to slow. Some ships stopped moving entirely. The crews wanted to fight the humans. They wanted to protect the Council. But now they understood what they had been protecting. A choice was forced upon them: fight for lies or stand for truth. Most chose truth. The battle that everyone expected to be a great human defeat never really happened. The Council's ships, unable to overcome the Sentinel's control of their systems, unable to convince their crews to fire on humans, simply withdrew. 17 minutes. That was how long the Council's greatest military force lasted in conflict with the Sentinel: 17 minutes. In that time, 83 capital ships were disabled, not destroyed. The Sentinel was not cruel. It simply took away their ability to fight. But the most terrible thing, for the Council, was what happened next. Some of the Council's own ships turned around. They pointed their weapons at the Council's headquarters. The Council convened an emergency session. Terror filled the chamber where their leaders sat. "What do we do?" asked the Solarian representative. "Our own forces have turned against us." "We negotiate," suggested a younger Vareth. "Perhaps if we offer the humans autonomy, they will stand down." A channel opened. A message came through. It was not from Jinsu directly. It was from the Sentinel. But it carried Jinsu's voice beneath it. "The Galactic Concil," the message said, "has ruled through fear and lies for 300 years. Those days are ended. Humanity will be free. All enslaved species will be free. The Council will surrender its authority, or we will remove it. Choose quickly. Your time is running out." The Council tried to negotiate. They offered resources. They offered power. They offered anything to maintain their control. The Sentinel's response was simple: no. In that single word, the age of the Galactic Concil ended. Not with a bang, not with total destruction, but with the realization that they had lost. Lost to people they had considered weak. Lost to a species they had underestimated. Lost to a guardian they had forgotten existed. Orders were sent across the galaxy. Every Council representative was to surrender or be removed from power. Every enslaved human colony was to be freed immediately. Every world that had served the Council was offered a choice: maintain the old ways or join a new order. The response was overwhelming. Worlds declared independence. Species that had been silent for centuries began to speak. The Council's great networks started to break apart. Mira watched the entire thing from the observation deck with her friends. She could not quite understand what she was seeing. The most powerful force in the galaxy, defeated. The authority that had seemed eternal, crumbling. "Is it really over?" Haywan asked. "No," Teho said slowly. "It is not over. It is beginning." Jinsu, still merged with the Sentinel, walked through the facility. He could feel the changes happening across the galaxy. He could sense the fear turning to hope, the chains breaking, the memory of freedom returning to billions of minds. But he could also feel the fear of those who did not want things to change, the council members who were angry, the administrators who had benefited from slavery, the forces that would try to resist. "This is not the end," the sentinel said through him. "This is the beginning of a new age, but new ages are never born without struggle." Still, something had changed fundamentally. Humanity was no longer the underdog. Humanity was no longer powerless. The Guardian had stirred, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. Overseer Vex received orders to return to Earth and manage the transition. He came as a representative not of the Council but of a changing galaxy. And when he stood before the first freely elected human leaders, he did not speak with commands. He spoke with respect. The ancient guardian of humanity had stirred, and the Galactic Council had learned fear again. 3 months after the Sentinel awakened, the first freely elected human government took power on Earth. The planet had been broken by 300 years of control. The ecosystems had been damaged. The cities had been built only for the Council's purposes, not for humans to live happy lives. But now, change was coming. Everywhere, humans who had been enslaved were learning what freedom felt like. Mira led the restoration efforts. She used technology from the Sentinel's vast libraries to rebuild. Solar panels that converted sunlight into power were installed across entire continents. Water purification systems cleaned the oceans. Forests were replanted. Life was returning to Earth. Tejo became the commander of the newly created human restoration fleet. Human ships, which had been forbidden for 300 years, were now being built. Warships for defense, transport ships for moving people between worlds, scientific vessels for exploration. The humans of 1,000 worlds looked to the sky and saw possibility. HFY trained the next generation of security specialists. She taught them how to protect humanity's networks, how to prevent the Council or any other force from taking control of their systems, how to keep their freedoms secure. But Jin-Su was different. He remained merged with the Sentinel. He moved between worlds as the ambassador of the new age. He helped free human colonies understand their freedom. He helped other enslaved species join humanity's alliance. The Sentinel's power spread across the galaxy like ripples in water. First, the Kethel Empire broke apart. The warrior species saw no reason to follow the old council anymore. Some joined with humans. Some declared independence and created their own empire. Some simply chose peace for the first time in thousands of years. Then the Solarian collective split into individual worlds. For 10,000 years, they had been forced to think as one. Now, they discovered what it meant to think as separate beings. Some were angry at humans for breaking their unity. Others were grateful to be free to think their own thoughts. The Varath learned a hard lesson. They had been the original architects of the slave system. Many of them felt shame. Some wanted revenge on humanity. Some wanted peace. The Varath became divided in ways they had never been before. But through it all, the Sentinel kept the peace. Not through force, through the clear communication of truth, through the sharing of knowledge, through the reminder that strength based on lies was weaker than cooperation based on honesty. On the mining world of Karos 7th, the mines shut down. No more humans would work as slaves. The tunnels where Jin-Su had discovered the metal door were turned into a memorial, a place where humans came to remember their slavery and celebrate their freedom. Humans were leaving the coal and metal worlds. They were going to universities. They were becoming scientists and artists and philosophers. They were remembering how to dream. But there was pain too. Many humans had trauma. Families that had been separated were being reunited, but some could not find their loved ones. Some had died in the mines. Some had been used in experiments by the Council. The wounds of 300 years of slavery did not heal quickly. Dr. Yejin, the holographic consciousness of humanity's last great leader, helped with this healing. She shared stories of the time before slavery. She showed humans what their ancestors had been. She helped them believe that they could be that great again. One day, she asked Jinsu a question that troubled him. "Are you still human?" she asked. "Or have you become something else?" Jinsu did not have a quick answer. He had been merged with the Sentinel for months now. He could feel the machine's thoughts. He could access information across the galaxy instantly. But he could also still feel Mira's hand holding his. He could still remember the taste of food. He could still feel the weight of responsibility for humanity's future. "I am both," he said finally. "I am a human who has become more, and a machine that has learned to care about individual lives. I think that is what the Sentinel was always supposed to be. Not a weapon, but a protector who understands the people it protects." The Varath began to change, too. They created a new government structure based on honesty rather than control. They admitted their crimes during the 300 years of slavery. They offered compensation to the humans they had hurt. It was not perfect. Many humans still hated them. But it was a beginning. The Kethel, who had always valued strength, discovered they respected humans more than they had expected. Humans were physically weaker than them, but human determination seemed to them to be a form of strength more powerful than muscle. Some Kethel began to serve as protectors of human colonies, not as masters, but as allies. The Solarian collective slowly reorganized itself. Individual Solarians began to create their own governments, their own art, their own cultures. Many chose to maintain some connection because connection brought beauty. But it was now a choice, not a requirement. A new organization replaced the Galactic Concil. It was called the Unified Worlds Confederation. It included humans, Varath, Kethel, Solarians, and dozens of other species that had been oppressed by the Council. Each world had one vote. Each species had equal representation. Power was shared rather than concentrated. Humans held many important positions in this new government, but so did others. Because Jinsu, speaking through the Sentinel's voice, had declared something fundamental. "We are free together, or we are not free at all." Months passed, then a year, then 2 years. Earth was transformed. The oceans were becoming clean again. The air was breathable without special equipment. Plants that had been extinct for 300 years were brought back from genetic samples. Humans who had never seen a forest walked through trees for the first time. But the transformation that mattered most was in humans themselves. The fear that had been taught to them for 300 years was slowly fading. Children born in freedom looked at the sky without thinking of chains. Young people pursued dreams instead of accepting servitude. A university was established in the ancient city of Seoul. It became the greatest center of learning in the galaxy. Humans and other species came together to study the mysteries of the universe. One evening, Jinsu and Mira stood on the observation deck of Earth's new space station. Below them, the planet shone with its own light. Cities of human design covered parts of the surface. But great forests and oceans covered most of it. Earth was being returned to its natural beauty. "Do you think it is enough?" Mira asked. "Do you think we have achieved what we needed to?" "No," Jinsu said. "But it is a beginning. The galaxy is changing. Slowly. Sometimes painfully. But it is changing." "And what about you?" Mira asked. "Will you ever be free of the Sentinel?" Jinsu considered this. His consciousness was so deeply merged with the ancient guardian now that separating would mean death. But he found that he did not want to separate. The Sentinel had shown him something beautiful. It had shown him a way to serve, a way to protect, a way to help billions of beings find their own freedom. "I am free," he said. "I am free because I chose this, and that is the only freedom that matters." The age of slavery was ending. The age of the Galactic Council was finished. But the age of humanity, the true age that had been suppressed for 300 years, was just beginning. And with each day that passed, the galaxy remembered more fully what humans could be.